Welcome to the third episode of Ambitiously Driven Podcast. I am your host. If you have not, I would like you to I would like you to share, I would like you to comment, share this with somebody to let them know that we're getting ready to talk about navigating the job market. And I am so honored to have a special guest, a very special guest, Jasmine Hooten-Cooper. Welcome to Ambitiously Driven. How are you, Jazz?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. Super excited to be here with y'all today.
It is my pleasure. So I know you've been now in the recruiting space. So tell us what has gotten you into this space, what has motivated you, what has inspired you, because you haven't always been in this space. So what, got you here?
Great question. So if you've ever visited like my website or purchased a resume from me or even asked for my assistance with a job, you will see part of my story about how I got into this space. I've always kind of done it as a side hustle, but recently brought it to the forefront, and maybe in the last 5 years, once we were trying to navigate COVID and a pandemic world, it became a lot easier to help people find jobs. So I started this originally way back in 2010 as a sophomore at Kennesaw State. A senior student asked me to write a resume for him. Wow. Never done it before. He was trying to get a banking job, so wrote him a resume, only charged him $10, didn't think anything else of it, and he got the job. But one thing that really helped that he did was he opened his mouth and spread the word about what I had done. And that year, I wrote an additional 17 resumes.
Wow.
Don't tell my parents that because they were still sending me money. But that was very exciting for me. And that's kind of how I started researching the job market way back in 2010 and started fixating on wanting to help people land roles and just do better in their professional life. So that's kind of where I am today. And it has blossomed and taken off in ways that I never imagined. So I'm pretty excited about that too.
That is awesome. So how long have you been doing it again?
Since 2010 is when I originally started, but I would probably say when I started my business, Hoot Recruit Agency, in 2020.
Okay.
So officially, full-time, I've been doing that for almost 5 years.
That is awesome. And I'm just going to dive right into it. What are some of the common mistakes that you see from clients or people in general that are in the job market that are having a hard time landing a career or a job?
Yeah, so first off, I like to say that the job market today is very different. There are not hundreds, not thousands, but millions of job seekers applying for jobs every single day. So you have to stand out. You can't, just do the same old, same old. You got to be different. So one thing that I definitely noticed as a recruiter in this industry is consistency. People believe that they can apply to a job and they're going to get a call. But no, for every one job you apply for, you may not ever hear anything back. I usually recommend applying to a minimum of 10 jobs per week.
Wow.
That sounds like a lot. Yes, looking for a job is a full-time job.
Oh, yeah.
But I definitely recommend being consistent in your job search. You got to definitely stick with it. And another thing is being proactive and following up with recruiters, constantly building your network. That is so important. Even if you are satisfied where you are, you should still be making connections, building connections with different people in different industries, because you never know, you may need them.
Right.
So even me and as a person that is, not looking for any type of role, I still every now and then get contacts on LinkedIn or just random email messages, asking, am I interested? I still take interviews, even if I'm not interested, because that is just a brand new connection that I form with a recruiter. So I never know if I'll need them in the future.
That's good. And you've said two words that go hand in hand. You've got to be consistent and you've got to be proactive. Yes. So what would you say to that client or that person watching who struggles with consistency, who struggles with being proactive? What can you say to them to get to that space?
Yeah, so it's all about time management. I know that's like a typical word, but you got to be strategic in your job search. It can't just be something that you decide to do when you see a role. You have to, whether you have any type of project management software or you utilize the Notes app on your phone, you say, hey, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to apply to 10 jobs on this website today. And then on Wednesday, I'm going to sit down and send an email follow-up, checking in. I'm going to make phone calls. Definitely being strategic. You really got to force yourself to do that, to be consistent. What I have recommended that my clients do now is kind of like set a reminder on their phone or as a reminder in their email app. So every day or every, once or twice a week at a specific time, they are reminded, hey, it's time to apply for some jobs, or hey, it's time to send some email follow-ups, or hey, it's time to scope through LinkedIn and see what's out there. So definitely being strategic and using any time management skills that you have obtained from different jobs is going to help you kind of be proactive and stay on top of that job search. It is not taking 2 weeks to get a job. Sometimes I have clients that I've had to work with for 6 months to get a job. Literally, it's a lot because, like I stated, everyone is looking for a job. And as of 2020, millions of layoffs have happened and they are still occurring. So you definitely are going to have to be that person that doesn't let up until, you are satisfied with the offer that you've received.
That's good. And I follow you on social media. So I often see you say for the different various roles that you post, the importance, I can't stress it enough, the importance of tailoring your resume for that role. Can you touch on that? Before you touch on that, I want you to answer this. Why 10? What is the significance of 10 for somebody that may be struggling with understanding why I got to do 10?
Yeah, so that is not a scientific answer or research. That was my personal experience. I'm just giving you what I went through when I was in the job market. I applied for 10 roles per week. At that pace, I actually landed an interview within 3 weeks at that pace. Now, that's a lot of roles. So that would have been, 30 jobs that I applied for. But having my resume, it's not like it's going to take 10, 15, 20 minutes to apply. So that's what it took me. And I used that number because it worked for me. It worked several times. I do still go put in job applications for my clients, for certain clients who want me to go through the full process with them. And in that process, applying at that rate 10 times per week has landed them or helped them stand out and land those roles or interviews a lot faster.
That's good. So what would you say to somebody watching this podcast, the importance of tailoring each resume? Because, Jasmine, I'm going to be honest and transparent. I've applied to roles with the same resume. I didn't change not one word. I didn't change not one job duty. I just submitted it, and then I'm like, I know I qualify, and I've gotten a denial email like, what is going on?
Yeah. So you are like so many people where you feel like a recruiter or an interviewer knows who you are.
Wow.
And they don't. They don't know. As a recruiter, I don't know who you are. Like, you have to prove it to me on paper. The most important thing is a lot of us professionals, we try to be the Jack or the Jill of all trades. We feel like we can do everything, which is nothing wrong with that. A lot of us are amazing that way.
Right.
But these companies don't want someone who can do it all. They literally want what that job title says. So your resume needs to fit it to a T. So let's say you've been a general manager and worked in the restaurant industry all your life. That gives you so much experience. You can transfer and do a lot of things. But if your resume just shows that you've worked as a general manager at several restaurants and you are applying to be a marketing specialist at an agency because you did some marketing for these restaurants, I personally would bypass your application.
Wow.
Because I'm looking at it as, yes, you might be able to do it, but I can't waste my time trying to figure it out if it doesn't say it right on your resume. Because there are some people who just apply for jobs without ever reading.
That's true.
So tailoring your resume is super important. You can do that by using keywords in the job description or the job that you're applying for and kind of sprinkling it throughout your resume. You do not have to change the entire resume. I would recommend maybe changing only the professional summary at the top, which will align better with the job description that you're applying for. Maybe sprinkle some of those keywords throughout, but I recommend some people, they have 3 and 4 versions of resumes. Now, if you are applying for the same type of roles, you only need 1 resume.
Right.
But that's one thing that's going to kind of help you stand apart. You're going to have to tailor that resume to certain positions.
That's good. So what would you say to somebody that has short span job longevity, where they're here for 5 months, they're here for 2 months, they're over here for 3 months? What would you say to that person?
So I see that a lot in the younger generations. It's called job hopping. It is very frowned upon in the recruiter world because it makes you appear that you have not gained the skills, or it makes it look like you're going to jump ship at a company and they don't want to waste their money on you. However, as a professional, I understand why people do it. You do it to make more money. Let's just be honest. You do it for better opportunities.
Right.
If another company will give you more money for a higher position, then it makes sense to take that opportunity. But if that is you and you have short tenure at different companies, the recruiter side of me does not recommend this, but you're going to have to not put that on your resume.
I feel it.
To be honest, you may have to alter some dates.
Yeah.
If you took jobs that have absolutely nothing to do with what you're interested in, leave it off. There's no need to put what you did in high school if you are, been in the job market for over 10 years now. Some things are irrelevant. So take a lot of those dates out. Some of them you may have to extend. You will get the opportunity to explain that in an interview, but a resume actually gets you through the door. So some of those you may have to change up a little, leave the irrelevant jobs off. But another way around it is to be able to explain on your resume why you have such jobs, short job tenures. A lot of people don't do that. If I see that you've worked at 3 jobs, each job for 6 months each, that's a red flag to me. I may not be interested. But in parentheses next to the role, explain why. Maybe you were laid off. Maybe you had to quit your job and take care of your elderly parent. There is nothing wrong with putting that because it explains to me that, hey, you're not a job hopper, but you just had life circumstances that came up.
Right.
So that would be my main piece of advice. Give a little explanation, even if it's in a cover letter, as to why you have hopped around at several positions.
That's good. Because I know quite a few people, that have had jobs here, and there. And, I know that's something that companies and recruiters look at.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the word red flag. Can you share with us 10, since you said we need to apply for 10 jobs, for those that are seeking a job, I want you to share with us 10 red flags that a recruiter would notice that would get you X'd off the list.
Okay.
If you can get to 10.
Okay, let's see.
I know
10.
you can, yeah.
All right, number 1. On your resume, at the very top, you're going to have an email address. A big red flag is an unprofessional email address.
Okay.
My first email in college was Dancing Queen 17.
All right, Dancing
It does not
Queen.
need to be on your resume.
Okay.
I usually recommend first name, last name, and a Gmail resume. So that'll be your first red flag is a professional email address. A second one is going to be job hopping. So give a brief explanation as to why you've done that on your resume so that I can understand and be okay with it and then move forward. You usually only have 5 to 6 seconds to impress a recruiter for a resume. So you want to make sure that what I see on there doesn't turn me away because I'm not spending a lot of time on it. A third thing would probably be your professional appearance on your digital platforms. Yes, we look at that.
Wow.
I will look you up on LinkedIn. Not your professional, I'm not judging by your profile or anything like that, but how you conduct yourself, that matters. Because if I have 300 applicants, I'm really looking for ways to cut that number down.
Right.
So making sure that your professional image, it doesn't have to be a professional headshot, but a very nice looking headshot, making sure that other profiles that you don't think companies look at are always up to date, like Facebook, Instagram.
Okay.
Be careful what you post, or make sure they're private
Right,
profiles.
right.
I would say that's number 3. Number 4 is going to be the length of your resume.
Okay.
Max of 2 pages. Anything more, you are wasting your time, and it is very uninteresting. Number 5, I'm going to say a red flag would be the formatting and structure of your resume. That is also very important. You want to make sure that everything is aligned and clean, that your margins are correct, that you only have one font, that you only have one color. All of that needs to be perfect, and that you don't have any spelling errors. So grammatical errors in your resume, I would say number 5. Number 6, red flag would be your answers to applications. When you're filling out an application, you need to be thorough. You should not put "see my resume." Automatic denial or rejection. So be thorough in responding to application questions. Even if you have copy and paste them somewhere because they start to sound repetitive, it is okay to do that, but make sure you're being thorough and that it makes sense and that you've read it aloud in answering those application questions. I would say number 7 would probably be... I don't even know if you could possibly have a number 7 red flag.
I know you
or
got
8,
3 more.
9,
I know
10.
you got 3 more.
Definitely is probably going to be, let me think. The way you apply for certain roles, this kind of goes into application, but the site that you use. You should never apply on sites like Indeed or ZipRecruiter. I know
Why
this
not?
is probably news to
Why
people.
not?
Yeah, because Indeed and ZipRecruiter are like third-party search services. You can use them to search for jobs, but once you find the job you want, go to the company's page,
Really?
to their website, and apply directly. Because if I have my own company's application and I'm not paying Indeed or ZipRecruiter, but they're going to advertise it anyway, because all they do is scrub the internet for those roles, all of the applications that I uploaded won't be in an Indeed application. It'll say easy apply or quickly submit because you have saved your resume in there. And when it comes across in my platform, it shows that you have not answered any of my questions. Automatic rejection. So stay away from that. I will also say another red flag would be... I'm not gonna say that wouldn't be a red flag. That would be a don't do it. But
That's still a red flag. If we can't do it, that's
well,
a red
it's not.
flag.
It's a red
yeah.
flag for job seekers. It's don't do it, as in do not put anything that references your age on your resume.
Okay.
That's for your well-being, because it prevents age discrimination.
Makes sense.
Which is not good. So avoid putting the year that you graduated. Avoid putting anything as relevant to your age on there. Another red flag is in interviewing, stay away from giving up too much information. Don't be too personal. We don't want to know everything about you. Some things, of course, we can't ask, but if you give up willingly too much information, it could be a turnoff as well. And then lastly, I would say a red flag is just not showing general interest and showing up to an interview unprepared. If you don't know anything about the company that you're interviewing with, if it shows that you haven't done any research, if you don't in the interview asking any questions, I'm going to automatically assume that you're just looking for a job and maybe not a role. And every company wants to feel like their role is special, even if they are paying $15 an hour. So I would just say be thorough in that and doing your research and showing interest and smiling in an interview while you're talking, even if it's virtual, are going to be some things that'll help you and are red flags if you don't do it.
Those are some good red flags. And the one that got me the most is Indeed. So you telling me I don't need to apply on Indeed no more?
Don't do it. It's a waste of time because I could have closed that role. It could be closed, and Indeed will still have it posted because they make money off of those advertising. So if you're applying to roles that say that were posted 30 days ago, I probably closed it within 10 days, and you're still applying, and you're sitting there waiting. And you may not also be getting a rejection because you applied through Indeed and not through the website. I don't have a way to notify you through that platform if I don't have an Indeed account. So that's a big thing that people do not know. It will save you a lot of time if you use it to search. Like they have so many jobs. So yeah, I'm searching. Oops, there's a company, McDonald's is hiring a servers. Instead of doing that right through Indeed, go to that website, find it on their careers page and apply that way.
Wow, that's good information. That's good information. You talked about or you touched on interviewing. What are some tips that you can give to somebody that's watching who struggles with interview? They're just nervous, their nerves, the anxiety, what can help a candidate be more calm in an interview to relate to that recruiter? Because I know the recruiter can pick up the nervousness, the nerves and all of that. What can you say to that person?
Yeah, so I would definitely say it's important to practice. I know that sounds cliche, but sitting in a mirror and practicing your answers will help over time. Recruiters, like you stated, they can feel your energy, which could come off as I'm not interested or I'm going to be a terrible coworker, and you don't want to give that off. So practicing in the mirror, not only answering your questions, but smiling while you answer, it makes you feel more welcoming and excited about the role. So that's going to be number one. Number two is going to be visiting Glassdoor as a site for companies to post. You get to read reviews, current jobs, salary estimates. But the most important thing is they have an interview section for every company.
Wow.
I can go under that section and see what questions that interviewer is going to ask for specific positions. And using that, I can practice the questions that I'll need because other people have posted.
Wow.
Yes, so people have gone on Glassdoor, given a review, and they'll say, give me some common questions that you were asked for a specific role. That helps you practice. That's how I give mock interviews to people who sign up, and I use Glassdoor to help them practice for their interviews. So practicing is going to be really big in helping calm your nerves. A third thing is being able to control the interview. A lot of people think recruiters control the interview, which we do if you don't. You have to control the interview because if they are throwing or if I am throwing negative things in the mix or objections because I notice you don't have this skill or you don't have this piece of education, you have to be able to control it and overcome those objections and understand or prove to me why you still should be chosen for the specific role. So being able to overcome objections, that all falls in line with practicing as well, which is going to be super important for that. And then lastly, I already said this, but appearance makes a big difference. And people think because you are virtual that you do not have to look professional. Yes, you still do. Even if it's just the top part, making sure, and that goes from your shirt to your face, to your hair. You want to make sure that you have said everything that you've done or look the part in the specific role. And the way that you're talking needs to match your resume. If I do your resume and I put all of these fancy words in there and you can't say half the words or haven't practiced any of those words, I'm going to be able to tell, you fake sold me here. Like, this doesn't sound like you. So knowing your resume back and front, being able to read through it so that I can spit out, or you can spit out what's already on that piece of paper, reaffirming to me as a recruiter that you know this role like the back of your hand, is going to be important. Those are some ways, but practicing the resume and practicing the interview in a mirror is going to be big. Targeting those interview questions on Glassdoor is also going to help you. Professional appearance is going to be good. And then lastly, following up with the recruiter or the interviewer is going to give you bonus points. Sending a simple thank you within 48 hours after the interview is going to help. Even if you got a rejection email right away, say thank you. It makes a big difference in them reaching back out or saying, hey, okay, this person's really interested. Maybe I can keep them in mind for a future role or something like that.
That's good. You've mentioned a lot of good stuff. And I want to say this in closing as a final question, because I know you talked about not giving too much information. And somebody watching this may, be struggling with understanding what is too much information. So I want to do a little role play.
Okay.
I want you to be the candidate, and I'm going to ask you the question just as an example, not to share too much information, as you mentioned, like your age or the year you graduated, etc. So Jasmine, thank you so much for coming to Ambitiously Podcast to interview for a camera woman role.
Okay.
Please share with us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm super excited to speak with you today, and super excited about this position. I have read everything that you guys have posted about this role, and I wanted to talk to you about why I feel like I'm a great fit. So my professional background, I studied film and industry at Kennesaw State University, and following that, I did 2 internships where I was able to get additional certifications and practice in the real world, filming podcasts just like this. In my free time, I like to shoot nature scenes, go on walks, do random shots at carnivals and festivals, just to get people in their natural light. And that's pretty much kind of how I was able to find my passion in this for this particular role. It's something that I did as a hobby, something that I've done on the side, but I wanted to kind of bring it to the forefront. I did bring a folder or a portfolio of some of my past images or flicks that you can watch to see the kind of work that I do, but I'm super excited about what you guys are doing here at this company, and I want to be able to contribute and maybe bring a new light to the organization or grow in my own skills and knowledge as well.
I loved it. That was good. You hired. You got the job. You got the job.
I know nothing about filming, but
hey, you made it sound like you knew about filming.
You would get the opportunity to practice ahead of time, but as you can see, I basically just took out really too much personal information about myself and kind of threw it back and was able to control it. I threw in some things about your company, about wanting to grow, and things that I've done in my personal life that have contributed to the role as well.
That's good. That's good information. I hope y'all taking notes. That's some good stuff. Listen, Jasmine, we're getting ready to bring this to a close. I just want to thank you so much for sharing those tips about navigating the job market. There may be somebody watching who needs your services, which are incredible and tremendous services. I want you to look into this camera right here and tell them, how can they contact you and what you offer? Just a brief 60 seconds.
Yeah, so you can find me on hoot-resumes.com. I offer full cycle recruitment services. If you're a company needing to hire and you don't know where to start, I can help you with that. I offer resume writing services for candidates and professionals, LinkedIn creation services, interview or mock interview services, anything to take part in the job market, I offer it all. You can reach me on hoot-resumes.com, and my email is jcooper@hoot-recruit.com. You can also text my business number at 478-313-4895.
Y'all hit Jazz up. If you need a job, I mean a good high-paying job, hit Jazz up. This is your
Yes.
girl. This is your recruiter. She will get you right. Again, thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. You've helped me on some tips. I know you have helped the listeners and the viewers on this podcast on navigating the job market. Again, I want to admonish you to like, to share, and to subscribe to this podcast. Until next time, good luck on your job search. Don't be a red flag.